Welcome to Postcards from Home, the program that lets you in on the many interesting and exciting opportunities to learn, experience, and enjoy what is uniquely Pinellas County. There's a very special local site of great historical and natural significance you can visit, and we'll show you why it's called A Place to Remember. We'll take you to one of the most beautiful and tranquil places in Florida, and it's right off one of Pinellas County's busiest roads. Pinellas County's parks and preserves have boardwalks that can get you deep into some barely tamed habitats and up in observation towers for that spectacular bird's eye view. All this and more when we send you Postcards from Home. Hello, I'm Tom Iovino, and welcome to Postcards from Home. Traffic, construction, noise, and congestion are among the frequently experienced features on the urban landscape of Pinellas County, but there are actually many places here among our parks and preserves where peace and tranquility dominate, and today we're going to visit one such place. I'm here at Weedon Island Preserve with Phyllis Kolianis, the preserve manager, to get a tour of Pinellas County's richest site for both cultural history and natural beauty. Well, Phyllis, thank you very much for having us out today.
Well, my pleasure.
Where exactly are we? What is this wonderful place you have here?
Well, Weedon Island Preserve is a jewel in St. Petersburg, actually, and it's one of the big 4 preserves that we have in Pinellas County, and we're actually under the Environmental Lands Division.
Okay.
Which hopes to preserve or provide stewardship about conservation in Pinellas County for these wildlands.
A place like this in crowded Pinellas County is really, like you said, a jewel. It's incredible to see that this space has been preserved as this natural environment.
Yes, and it is not only that, it provides a lot of things for outdoor usage also.
Okay. So this isn't just a place that has trees and bushes and animals, right? This is actually an outdoor recreation area, basically.
Yes, definitely. There are things that people can do on the preserve. We have hiking, we have kayaking, we have fishing.
Fishing? Must be pretty decent fishing out here.
Yes, I understand that's one of the best kept secrets in the area.
Okay, it's our secret between us and the audience. This place, you've got the backpacking and you've got the hiking and all those other things going on. What can people see and experience out here?
Well, they can actually see some real nature out here. We have quite a few different wild animals. We have some beautiful wildflowers and different other types of native plants that people might not experience in your suburban areas.
Sure, this looks like natural and untouched. That's great. This area just isn't a nature preserve. It actually has a long history of human settlement.
Oh, definitely.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the first inhabitants here?
I can. I think the thing is we've had some 2,000 years of history here that involved Native Americans, and we are actually one of the major sites in the southeast known as a site of the first identified site of the Weedon Island culture.
Really?
So it's very important, but we also have a colorful history here.
You know, I understand this is a little more recent, but tell me a little bit about this colorful history. I understand this is kind of a wild kind of place.
Well, it was back in the 1920s and 1930s. We actually had the first commercial airport here in the Tampa Bay area. We also had a movie studio here.
And they shot movies here.
Right, the talkies, you know, back in the 1930s. But we also had some dance clubs and some speakeasies out here. So it was quite an active place back then.
Now, if people really have questions about this place, you also have an education center as well that could describe a little bit more about the natural environment and the history of the place.
Yes, we have a lot of educational programs for all ages, a big variety. We have lectures, workshops. We try to actually do quite a few different things even for school groups. We have twice a month a little program for kindergarten groups. And so,
start them early.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, it's just a wide variety of programs to get people really out into the atmosphere of nature and to really appreciate it.
Now, one of the things I've just seen recently was the exhibit that you set up in the exhibit hall in the Education Center. It is a gorgeous exhibit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that exhibit is actually part of everything we try to do here. We try to show and demonstrate to people how the environment and people support each other. And our exhibit gallery is called Connecting People in Place.
Okay.
And that's the whole idea, is to show people where they fit in the environment and how it affects everything that we do.
Well, it's definitely a beautiful gallery to go walk through. Now, at the exhibit, it's not just all about natural history. It's also the archaeological component of what happened here in Weedon Island. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Actually, at least half of the exhibit is about the prehistory that once existed here and the history that was so important. The prehistoric period we have depicted in a whole island inside the exhibit gallery, and you can see how the environment and the people from the past work together.
Well, it would be good to give people a broad brushstroke of how people lived off the land, and it also depicts more contemporary archaeology as well.
Right. Back in the 1920s, which would be contemporary actually in time, Dr. Fuchs came down from the Smithsonian, and he investigated our ancient culture here.
Okay.
And this became the first identified site of the Weedon Island culture, which actually spans from Florida into Georgia and Alabama. Some 3,000 sites are identified today, but they're all called Weedon Island culture.
Now, there's this permanent exhibit, but there are also some other exhibits that come through and also lectures that come through as well. So this is a changing menu. What are some of the things you have there?
Well, we actually have a lot of different lectures. We have professional people come in and give talks on different regional archaeology, but as well as scientific work too that they're working on, different research. We have workshops, all different types of workshops, from native plants to photography workshops. We offer a wide range of programs.
I understand that some of the exhibits that have come through have been kind of fascinating too. There's a gentleman, Clyde Butcher, who does nature photography. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we had Clyde Butcher here some time ago, but we've also had some really exciting exhibits, such as the Rainforest Mask of Costa Rica. We give a big venue of different artists and photographers that we rotate throughout the year.
So if people are reluctant to come out on their own, I understand you offer an engraved invitation for them to come out through these special events you offer. What are they all about?
Well, several times a year we do have some really interesting special events. During Florida Archaeology Month, we have Celebrate Florida Archaeology and bring in different craftsmen showing some of the ancient techniques, such as making a dugout canoe. We have pottery making and some of the other different techniques, such as flint knapping.
Okay.
And really nice demonstrations about that. And then on occasion, we have also had some native flute gatherings here.
Oh, really?
And that's been what we call the Heart's Breath Flute Gathering, and we've had those a couple times in the past.
So basically telling the story of the Native Americans through music.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. Their music is beautiful.
Now, when people go out and hit the trails, there are opportunities for them to get involved as well through, say, photography hikes and things. Tell us about the trails and about the kind of programs you offer through the hikes.
Well, one of the exciting things, we put in some 20 really nice interpretive trail signs that are interactive and tell people a lot about the culture and the environment that was out here, that they can actually learn some things about the Tampa Bay area.
The trails also, part of the trails are actually ADA compliant, so people, if they had a disability, may still be able to go out and hike, correct?
Yes, yes. We have two different boardwalk trails. It's called the Bay Boardwalk and the Tower Boardwalk. Both are ADA accessible, and they have been redone recently with composite planking instead of the old wood planking. So they're really nice.
Great. Now, you mentioned the Tower Trail. It runs out to that beautiful tower that's out there as well. You get a great view.
Yes.
Now, Phyllis, since this is Weedon Island, we are pretty much surrounded by water. if people want to get off the trails and into the water for a little bit of a tour, you guys have an option for them as well.
Oh yes, we actually do canoe guided tours. And even though we can't do a whole lot of those, there are a rental option out here too, or they can bring their own. We have a canoe launch.
And people can rent their own canoes or kayaks right here at the preserve?
Yes.
Outstanding. That's not a bad way to go if you don't want to try it out for the first time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And the canoe trail itself, I understand, is excellent.
Now, it's a different perspective. You're not looking from the land into the greenery, but you're actually looking from the water in. Does it offer a completely different perspective?
Yes, actually you can go through mangrove tunnels, which are fascinating.
Now, it's not just Weedon Island Preserve that the county has for people to get outside in the great outdoors. What other facilities are there?
Well, actually, we have a sister facility in North Pinellas called Brooker Creek Preserve Environmental Education Center. It's right out of Tarpon Springs. But then this county offers so much. We have all the parks. We have some great green spaces for people to go to.
And it's so odd, again, to see such great green spaces in the middle of one of the most densely populated counties in the country.
Yes, it is. We're very, very lucky.
There's a very important group of folks you have here that's vital to making this preserve run. Those are the volunteers.
Yes.
What kind of work do they do, and why are they so necessary?
Well, I don't think we could do near what we do without our volunteers. They play an important role. They fill many capacities besides working as hike and canoe guides. They also work the front desk. They help with exhibit tours. They help with educational programs. We use them in quite a few different ways and really appreciate everything they do.
What do you think the volunteers get out of helping in such a beautiful place like this?
Well, I think that not only do they get a chance to come to this beautiful place, they also get to experience interacting with visitors. They get to actually learn more about the environment here. So I think there's an awful lot of rewards to volunteer at Weedon Island.
I'll tell you, the volunteers I've run into here are very happy with working out here, and they enjoy it tremendously. And that experience with nature is just a good time for people. Definitely. If people want to get more information on coming out to the preserve, where can they go?
Well, we have a website, www.weedonislandpreserve.org.
Okay, and they can find out more, take a little virtual tour from their living room?
Yes, they can, and they can find out all about our calendar of events, find out all about our recreational activities. They can get a lot of information there.
Now, say, Phyllis, people don't have a computer. Do they have a phone number they can call?
Yes. 727-453-6500.
And some of those great volunteers are going to answer the calls, right?
That's true.
Outstanding. So if you can hear the excitement in their voices, it's probably a good idea that you're going to have a fun time here as well.
Definitely.
Phyllis, thank you very much for having us out today. It is a beautiful place, and hopefully a lot more people will come by and stop by and visit.
I hope so too.
I don't know about you, but I never cease to wonder at the magical diversity of beauty that springs out of the earth from planted seeds. And at Pinellas County's Florida Botanical Gardens, there's a lot to marvel at. Let's visit with the Extension Education Instructor, James Stevenson, for a brief tour of this marvelous local paradise. Hey James, thank you for having us out.
That's all right.
James, this is a wonderful place here at the Florida Botanical Gardens. What makes this place so special?
Well, we're right here in the heart of one of the most populated counties in the whole state. You know, Pinellas County is about 98% built out, and here we are, this 120-acre oasis. We've got about 10 acres of these formal gardens. We've got 10 acres of display gardens. We've got 10 acres of sculpture gardens, and all these are very, very restful places to go and visit.
Well,
right here in this, hugely overpopulated county.
And think about it, Ulmerton Road's not that far in that direction.
Right. That's right. That's right. And you can't even hear it. All you can hear is birds, water, the leaves, things like that. So it's really nice.
Why do you think it's important we have a place like this?
Well, it's for people's health, really. I mean, mental health, physical health. You can come and have a nice walk, or just sit and listen to the birds, listen to the wind, things like that. You know, look at the flowers. All these things are important to human health and well-being.
You mentioned the flowers and the plants. What kind of flowers and plants do you have here? How many different varieties?
We've got about 4,000 different taxa, or different kinds of plants.
4,000?
Yeah, and that's not really a lot for a botanic garden. We're a young botanic garden.
Okay.
And we're still adding things. We're trying to add the most unusual, Florida appropriate. We really try and teach, putting the right plant in the right place.
Okay.
But there's a lot still to be discovered and tried in our climate. you can use this place as a showroom.
Okay.
You know, come and have a look around and see how big something might get.
Okay.
We have a good example, a few palm trees that look quite cute at the garden center, and then you come here and see a full-grown plant and you think, maybe not next to the window. So it's a good resource in that respect as well.
And also there's information about how to care for the plant, how much water, how much light.
The labels in the Botanic Garden not only have the plant's common name, which might not be that common, it also has a scientific name, so you can identify just exactly what the plant is. But we also include the cultural information, you know, how much sun it needs, how much water it needs, that kind of thing. So very valuable information and free.
And you know, that's the word, the magic word right there is free.
Yep.
Okay, you mentioned this is sort of a showroom, actually sort of a classroom when you think about it.
Yep, it's like an outdoor classroom, or it's called a living library.
Okay.
Because of course every plant has its name there. You can find out a lot about it. What does it smell like? How tall does it get? You know, so much information just by coming and seeing it firsthand and not, you know, reading about it or hearing about it. You can come and see what these plants are really like.
And it's not just the plant education, it's also nature education as well.
That's
and a big thing called sustainability, which is big in the mind of a lot of people.
Absolutely. We really are trying to make sure that all the practices that we have here in the garden are sustainable.
Okay.
That means a minimum of input of resources. We try and minimize the amount of chemicals that go into the garden, almost zero. We're very close to a natural creek, which means that we have to be very careful about that.
Well, it's good because you've got plants that will actually do well without a lot of tending to.
Exactly.
It saves money and it saves a lot of hard work on a Saturday.
Exactly. And you know, we're a part of Extension, the County Extension Service, which is a free service for citizens to come and find out about things like horticulture. And other aspects of Extension are, you know, family and consumer sciences. Another program area at Extension is 4-H, so you've surely heard of 4-H.
Everybody's heard of 4-H.
Exactly. So Extension is a very valuable resource for the citizens, and we're an extension of Extension here.
Now, you'd mentioned before that it's not just the plants that are here, it's also the wildlife.
Yeah, the wildlife, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, like I said, we have a healthy garden on so many acres, and we're actually stewards of 90 acres of natural area. And that includes a native wetland, a pine flatwoods, and some very rare scrubland, which is one of the most endangered habitat types in the world. And we're stewards of that. Right here on site. Right here in the middle of Pinellas, exactly. And so we have to go out there and manage this very sympathetically to the wildlife that's out there and the native plants. And we've undergone quite a lot of impressive work out there to kind of revitalize the health of these natural systems.
James, how is this all made possible? Who are some of the key players, especially in maintenance?
Right, exactly. It's very, very high maintenance garden. As you can tell, it's very formally, very well kept. We have about 250 volunteers, which we are very, very proud of.
Now, are these people trained? They're
trained, yes. Many of them go through the Master Gardener Training Program, which we offer almost every year. And it's a chance for average citizens to spend some time with us, learn the basics of horticulture, and then in turn we get their volunteer hours. And once they've done 100 hours of volunteer work here in the garden, they get their Master Gardener status, which is, they're quite proud of it. And then they oftentimes keep coming back and keep coming back.
Well, it's a beautiful place. I'd love to come here and volunteer myself.
Yep.
James, this is just an outstanding place to come. And again, we're right by Ulmerton Road.
That's right, right off of Ulmerton.
The very busy Ulmerton Road.
Yep, and you can't even hear it.
You can't, you're right, I can't even hear it right now.
Yep.
Sounds like a good place for people to come and discover more about nature, about wildlife, maybe sit down by the creek, maybe even take some pictures of here.
Yep.
All these things you can do.
There's lots to do, 7 to 7 every day of the year.
Sounds like a good place to come. This oasis right here in the middle of Pinellas County. James, thank you for sharing it with us.
Thanks for coming, thank you.
What's that plant over there? Can you tell me?
This one, yeah, well.
There's a gift shop at the Florida Botanical Gardens where you can find some unique gifts for your favorite gardener. And if you see a plant out in the gardens that really catches your eye, you can always just walk into the adjoining Extension Center during business hours for more information about it. We often think of our parks as a place to go for the usual amenities like playgrounds, rollerblading, and barbecue grills. But if you pull right off some of our major roadways, you can actually find yourself deep in some very wild nature habitats that you can get into quite easily. I recently pulled off I-275 to visit Sawgrass Lake Park and to talk to park naturalist Stephen Gaber about our systems of boardwalks and observation towers to be found in many of Pinellas County's parks and preserves. But Steve, I want to thank you very much for having me out today to Sawgrass Lake Park. Steve, talk to me about the boardwalk you guys have here.
Well, Sawgrass Lake Park opened in 1978, and that's when the boardwalk was first opened.
What kind of things can people see on a boardwalk like this?
Well, they can see some endangered plants.
Okay.
This is giant leather fern, the largest fern in North America. It gets to be about 7 or 8 feet tall. They can see the maple swamp. The boardwalk mostly winds through the maple swamp, and it goes out to the overlook tower.
Okay.
And the largest number of trees in this part of the park and along this boardwalk are maple trees. Red maple trees are adapted to living in a wet environment. The soil is wet most of the time. Lots of birds, squirrels, raccoons, possums, snakes.
And everybody's favorite, the alligator.
Yeah, the alligators you're going to see mostly on the canals, the banks of the canal, and at the overlook tower.
Obviously something you want to stay on the boardwalk and enjoy from a distance.
Well, yes. We try to keep people, instill in them the idea that they need to respect the animals that live here.
Definitely want to keep your distance.
Yes.
Now, obviously you mentioned some precautions people should take when they're on the boardwalk. Obviously, don't walk up and feed an animal or get too close. What other precautions would you recommend for people who want to come out and take a walk on the boardwalk?
Well, dogs are not allowed on the boardwalk.
Okay.
Bicycles are not allowed on the boardwalk. Sometimes we have people want to feed animals. That's not a good idea because if the squirrels get aggressive, they expect food and they can jump on your head. And they look cute, but they're not pets.
They're definitely wild animals. We have to remember that.
That's right.
This isn't the only park in the park system that has a boardwalk, though.
No, other parks have boardwalks. Bocasiega Park has about 3/4 of a mile.
Okay.
John Chestnut has 3 boardwalks. Also, Weedon Island has about a mile of boardwalk.
Sure, at the preserve. And Steve, I understand there's a lot of other amenities on the boardwalk as well. Namely, one of the most popular things are these overlooks here.
Yes.
Where people can actually get underneath on a hot, sunny day.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of having the covered area because it does get quite hot here.
I'm sure.
And people are looking at alligators, they look at turtles and fish and birds along the canal. And also, sometimes it rains hard, and if they get stuck on the boardwalk in the rain, it's a place to shelter.
It's always a good place to take cover. Now, we're walking through the areas now, which is really good, but say you want to get above and look down on the areas and actually kind of get a broad survey. Where would you be able to do that?
Well, you go out to the end of the boardwalk here. It's
Okay.
It's 1/3 of a mile from the entrance to the overlook tower.
Okay.
And on the overlook tower, on the 2nd floor, it's about 25 feet high.
Okay.
And you can look down on Sawgrass Lake and the surrounding area. You can get a really good view of alligators and and hingas and great blue herons and white ibis. And
so you can see the lake ecosystem itself.
yes, and you can see down into the water sometimes if it's clear enough, and you can see really large turtles.
Wow.
We have soft-shell turtles are about that big around.
That's a pretty big turtle.
Big turtles.
And the beauty is, I guess you get above the tree line so you can actually look around.
And also on a hot day, it's really nice and breezy up there.
Now, we're on the boardwalk and it's very nice and clean and it's very easy to walk on. Say you're a little more adventurous and you want to go off the boardwalk. Are there any places you can actually take a walk there?
Yes, we have a hammock trail that is at the end of the boardwalk.
Okay.
And it's about a half-mile dirt trail. It winds through the oak hammock, which is a higher, sandier area.
Okay.
It's above elevation about 2 feet, but that 2 feet is a big difference because it has different plants, different trees, different animals. It's a whole different feeling to it. And you're liable to see armadillos and gopher tortoises and a whole different set of plants and birds.
And Steve, trails, like primitive trails like that, like the one here in Sawgrass Lake, are available in other parks as well, correct?
Yes, they are. A number of parks have trails, and the thing to remember about these trails is these trails take you through areas that look like what Florida looked like 100 years ago.
Really?
Before this intense development took place.
Well, that's good. You get back to the Florida roots.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know a lot about the park, you can get a guided tour, can't you?
Yes, we do tours.
Okay.
At this park and other parks as well.
Okay.
We have a self-guide booklet that allows you to take the booklet and you can do your own tour. It follows the trail, and we have chapter numbers on the boardwalk that correspond to chapters in the book and describing what you're seeing at that particular spot.
Sure, you can actually do a self-guided at your own pace.
Yes. And we also have a teacher here who takes classes through on their field trips. Pinellas County has one of the best park systems in the world. People come here from all over the world. We get 370,000 visitors a year here. And they come here and they're amazed that this is available for free. I mean, in some of their countries, they would be charged a lot of money to walk in something like this. And here it's available for free, and they can't see things that we have here in their own parks.
And it's not only that it's free and it's available, but it's also available in the most densely populated county in the state. And a place like this still exists, that's really good to see.
It really is. It's a jewel in the middle of urban America. It's surrounded by intense development and major superhighways. And so now we want to make sure that places like this stay preserved so that people can have a place to come and enjoy it, and also so that the animals have a place to come, because habitat for animals in Pinellas County is disappearing rapidly.
Oh, I'm sure. And places like this definitely provide a good place for them to live.
Yes.
So Steve, if somebody wanted to find out more about the hiking trails at Pinellas County Parks, where can they go?
They can visit the county website at www.pinellascounty.org.
Okay.
And then that'll give them a lot of information about the parks. There are also, you can take virtual tours. There are maps to the parks and maps of the parks themselves. And also it'll show you the various facilities that each of the parks has.
Sounds really good. Steve, thank you very much for having me on today.
Thank you very much.
I spent a lot of time checking this beautiful nature scene out here.
Do that. Yeah.
Thanks. Our parks and preserves are part of the Pinellas County Greenways and Trails concept, which offers a green infrastructure that connects communities and green spaces for an enriched quality of life for our residents. For more information, visit www.pinellascounty.org. As you can see, Pinellas County offers many exciting cultural, educational, and leisure activities. And when it comes to events, there are plenty to go around. Here's a list of what's happening in the weeks ahead. And that's only a small sample. There's really a lot more going on. For more information, visit www.pinellascounty.org/events or call 464-3000. Well, that wraps it up for this edition of Postcards from Home, and I hope that you enjoyed our program. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please call us at 464-4600 or send us an email. Our address is postcards@pinellascounty.org. We'd love to hear from you. From beautiful Fort DeSoto Park, I'm Tom Iavino for Postcards from Home. Wish you were here.